Hey guys, we're going to start chapter 5 off. We will be doing 2 sections in this video actually. So for lesson 1, we'll be talking about ratios. So let's start off with a definition. So the definition of a ratio is the quotient of two quantities in simplest form. And just a reminder here, quotient means we are dividing and we always want everything in simplest form. So we have 3 different ways that we could write a ratio. The first way would be to write it as a fraction, where we have a number A divided by a number B. The second way is using our colon, so A colon B, again comparing our number A to our number B. And then the last way is verbally, where we would actually write A to B. Again, comparing our number A to our number B. So our first example, a road construction crew has a lot of different arrow signs. Write a ratio in simplest form of the number of right arrow signs to all signs. So when you're writing your ratios, first thing you have to be careful of is that you put the right number first. So what we see here, we want the ratio of right arrows, so we need to find those first. So looking for all of our arrows that point to the right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I write it as a fraction, 6 over, then all signs, so that counts all of them, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, so 6 to 12, must be in simplest form though. 6 and 12 reduce to 1/2. So you could write it as 1/2. You could write it using the colon, 1 colon 2, or verbally 1 to 2. It did not specify in this example, so you could write it any of those 3 ways. You don't have to write it all 3 ways. Just one of them would be acceptable. Second example, write the ratio of smiley faces to hearts as a fraction in simplest form. This time we're told it must be a fraction. So smiley faces comes first. So we have 1, 2, 3 smiley faces. 2, then our hearts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hearts. So 3 to 5. Again, making sure that whichever one came first in the question is our first number when we write it as our fraction. Okay, so there's a little introduction to ratios from lesson 1. Lesson 2 then, we want to talk about finding unit rates. So a rate is a ratio of two quantities having different kinds of units. Suppose you text 60 characters in 30 seconds. This can be written as a rate. So we see we have our fraction here, 60 seconds, or 60 characters, to 30 seconds. Again, notice that we have different units. That's what makes it a rate, is the different units. So then when a rate is simplified so that the denominator is 1, it is called a unit rate. To write a rate as a unit rate, divide the numerator and denominator of the rate by the denominator. So again, if we go back to our 60 characters for 30 seconds, divide a numerator and denominator by 30, because that's our denominator, we would get a unit rate of 2 characters per 1 second, or 2 characters per second. So if we look at example 1, express each rate as a unit rate, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So $11 for 4 boxes of cereal. Write the rate that compares the cost to the number of boxes. So cost to boxes. We have $11 per 4 boxes. Then we divide by 4, which would give us 2.75. $2.75 per box. Now, in the directions, it said to the nearest tenth if necessary, but in this one, we are talking about money. Money is always 2 decimals. Money is always 2 decimals. All right, part B. 400 miles on 14 gallons of gas. Write the rate that compares the number of miles to the number of gallons. So 400 miles per 14 gallons So 400 divided by 14, rounded to the nearest tenth, would give us a unit rate of 28.6 miles per gallon. Now notice with our rates, we always have some kind of label, whether we're talking about just a regular rate up here, we're labeling characters per second, or unit rates down here where we're just writing that first rate per second rate. Always, always must be labeled. And then just remember that unit rates have to have a denominator of 1. Okay, so there's our first lesson, going over lesson 1 and lesson 2. A couple questions for you to try now. So the first two, express each ratio as a fraction in simplest form. We're talking about textbooks to students, and then cats to dogs. In this third example then, a 64-ounce container of sports juice costs $6.50. A 48-ounce container of the same juice costs $4.25. Which size container is the better buy? I want you to find the unit rate to help you determine the answer to that. So I should see some work for this one, not just an answer. Then these two here, just make sure you're expressing them as a fraction in simplest form. All right, guys, that is the end of our first video for Chapter 5.